With all of Sonic Prime's different Shatterverses and different Shatter Spaces, it's obvious that fans are going to theorise about what different characters from the Sonic series they'd like to see in the show. From obvious characters like Silver to a little bit niche, not known characters like Mighty. Seeing new characters in the show would be something really cool. Considering it's the last series though, I'm not sure how it would really work out and they'd be able to fledge a story out of them, so I don't know. But nevertheless, we like to have fun here with theorising. This isn't us saying this will happen, this is just fun little theories. So I asked you guys what sort of characters you'd like to see in Sonic Prime if they had any new ones in the last series, and here's some of the things that we got. Now, the Sonic sources, I have a theory that Nine's distorted perfect reality caused a lot of rips in the timeline and whatnot. Silver was created to fulfill the role of Sonic in Nine's new world. Now, I agree with part of this theory with the fact that Nine's perfect reality could cause a few more characters to come in, but I feel like Silver replacing him in the world would just be a bit random. If they were going to replace Sonic in Nine's reality with a different Sonic, they could possibly use it as an opportunity to bring in Scourge, or kind of like an anti-evil Sonic, you know what I'm saying? But I do think if Nine's perfect reality went wrong, it'd be the perfect opportunity to be like, oh, we're shooting out and oh, the universe is breaking, oh my god, there's so many different characters coming in. Now, if this was to happen, I don't think they'd be like part of the story and like new characters in the show. I feel like they just kind of pop up and you'd see them and go, oh my god, it's that person, it's that person, it's that person. And plus, since it's the last series, I don't think they'd be able to do a lot of developing characters since it's the last series. At Onion_Tears464 says, honestly, it'd be cool to see some of the villains, like Infinite with his Phantom copies. He could get in the others' heads and not just Sonic's, causing so many problems among the group with his illusions. I mean, he could even show the multiverse characters what they could have been, like Nine seeing how happy Sonic was around the real Tails, or Rusty Rose looking at her old self before she was mechanically enhanced. I just think Infinite was a cool character despite him being in Forces. And I'm happy to hear the Infinite love, because in my opinion, Infinite is a really cool villain. He's just sucked that he got chucked in a kind of mid and sucky game. And the idea of him getting into their heads to kind of mess with them a little bit and cause tension is such a cool idea. I think that would be great to happen. The only thing I wonder though is how would he appear? Would he just kind of pop up? Would he be in one of the Shatter Spaces the entire time? You know, how would they write him in and make it work? But anyways, at CloudyBear9907 said, I would love to see Silver in the show. It could totally work since fixing timelines and fixing dimensions is pretty much his thing. The way how I think it could be pulled off is maybe Sonic summons Silver somehow and calls him to help restore Green Hill. And I would love if there's some sort of scene where after it's all said and done, they're all repairing Green Hill together and there's like multiple different characters. I'm talking like Blaze, Silver, Vector, you know what I'm saying? Just like a bunch of different characters. They don't really speak, they don't have much in the story, but they're there. It wouldn't have to give them importance in the show, they wouldn't have to make up some story with them in like 3 episodes, and they'd still be there. It'd still be nice to see them. At Xeno_OG says, I think if it would have to be a cameo, Styx would be cool as Boss Cage, Omega in New York City, and maybe Blaze or this comics character called Scourge. He's Sonic from another universe, basically evil Sonic. It would be cool to see him. And I mean, this one's different because they've supplied a different character for each universe, which is pretty cool. I feel like with characters like Omega or Styx, Omega would work in kind of the background. Like, you know, there's that loop thing that every like citizen's just stuck on that's circling around. If they had some sort of thing where Sonic was talking to the Knuckles of that city, and there's a bunch of different characters swinging past them, and then, oh, look, Omega's just swung past. Same goes for Styx. I think it'd make sense if she was just in the background of New York City. And let's be real, background characters would most likely be New York City, because that's the only place where there's multiple people. The other ones just kind of have like the main Sonic crew, and that's it. At Banks Hicks says, although it probably won't happen, I'd love to see Infinite from Forces appear as a new ally to the Chaos Council. And while we're being real, let's be honest, none of the theories that we're saying today are going to happen. But it's just a bit of fun. I have no idea how the hell Infinite would get there, but he would be so cool in the show. Being able to use Phantom copies, just being able to mess with people would be something that'd be really cool to see. And since I absolutely love the Prime style, I imagine he'd look so good in the Prime style. Wolfpack Studios 7639 says, with the addition of Prism Titans, I think that Dark Gaia can make a return with the help of Nine, using the power of the Prism Shards to stop Sonic and Shadow from getting them, and in the fight, the Prism Dark Gaia Titan could also give Sonic some bad nostalgia he probably doesn't want to remember. Chip could also make an appearance by being in some flashbacks, or could return to help Sonic and Shadow fix the Prism, just like how Sonic helped him fix the planet. Side note here, I think Sonic's Werehog form could make a return too, and maybe one of the Titan's Dark Gaia abilities is to bring up Dark Gaia spawns also. I think if Sonic stares at it too long, you might get the Werehog form back. And I feel like if we were to see old villains again, it wouldn't be some kind of dedicated fight, because I feel like that'd be such a cop-out for the last fight of the entire show, to just be a reused villain from Sonic Unleashed. There could possibly be some scene where they're flashing back through a bunch of villains that Sonic's fought before, since if you don't know, Sonic Prime is canon, it's been confirmed, you know, it's canon. So there could maybe be some scenes showing like all of the bosses that Sonic's had to fight in the past, and that's where Dark Gaia shows up. With Chip showing up, again, I feel like it could be some sort of flashback or memory thing, where when he's doing some big massive fight, he's thinking of all of his friends that helped him get there along the way, you know, like pretty much anyone that Sonic's talked to ever. And I'm talking like frames, like they are flashing rushing by so quick, you can't even tell who most of these people are, and you're gonna have to slow it down to find out. Royal Animation says, I think the Wisps would be cool as a little cameo, maybe like a billboard for a Wisp-themed product or something in New York. And I love this idea, something like a Wisp energy drink or just some sort of Wisp thing far back in a billboard. It's not integral to the story of the show, so it doesn't feel like they're cramming as many references as they can down your throat. And again, it's the kind of references I like, the ones where only the people who know will get it, and it still makes sense to people who haven't played Sonic Colors or somehow haven't seen a Wisp before. It just looks like some weird alternate reality thing that they made up for the show to make it seem different. 2DX Does Things says, very small possibility, but I'd love to see a cameo from Omega in a shadow flashback before the show takes place. And I think flashbacks of before the show took place would be really nice to see if they did them right, because in my opinion the first season had way too many flashbacks. Now I didn't hate the flashbacks, but it was a bit random when you'd click on the episode trying to see what happened next after the one you've just watched, and it'd be like 15 minutes of what happened before. I mean, nevertheless, it was still cool to see them all in Green Hill together, you know what I'm saying? But in my opinion, they were just awkwardly timed. They could have timed them a little bit better. And if their flashbacks included characters that weren't seen in the show, that'd be the perfect way to see them in the Prime style, because I don't know what it is, I just want to see characters in the Prime style. And they just look so cool, I don't know how to explain it. The Prime style is one of my favourite Sonic styles. They just look so nice and smooth and beautiful. I love it. Zippy Pie says, since we got all versions of Eggman like a family, it'd be cool to see Maria and have her play a part in the show. In this way, Shadow would have his own plot next to the main plot. Now, I love this theory just because it gives Shadow a part in the show. Like, Shadow is probably one of my favourite Sonic characters, if not my favourite Sonic character. So hearing he was in the show got me hyped, but then I found out he just kind of floats around the void the entire time. He doesn't really have importance to this show whatsoever. That's why some of the last episodes are my favourites, because it was like the only time Shadow had a part to play in the show. So while I have absolutely no idea how Maria would work in the show, I'd be completely fine with it if it meant Shadow had some sort of story we could follow. Because even if you don't like Shadow, which I mean I don't know how, you've got to admit they did him dirty in the show, absolutely awfully. He's barely there. And at Jorvantis, Treylogan, Enosa says, Sonic would be like, I wouldn't mind Silver lending a hand as a reference. And I'd like this because it's a name drop. Like I've said with pretty much every theory, and it's probably getting annoying right now, it doesn't have to be a part of the story. Like all the flashbacks and cameos I've been talking about, a name drop is just kind of a name drop. They say his name and oh my god, you know who that is, you know. And I'd be equally as happy as if they shown him. I wouldn't mind if they literally just said the word Silver, I'd lose my mind. But yeah, what character would you like to see in Sonic Prime? It doesn't matter if it's related to the story or not, if the character hasn't been seen in 50 years, it doesn't matter, just say it. Or I'd much rather say comment it down below. Thank you to everyone who commented, your comments will be scrolling on the screen just in a second. Subscribe and stuff please, thank you very much, and I will see you in a bit. Goodbye.